Today I'm going to make a Kobalt 24 volt battery connector for my electric bike and electric scooter, or anything that is 24 volts. And this is basically the same connector as this one here that I made earlier, where you just insert it in the Kobalt 24 volt battery and you got 24 volts out of this connector. It's the same, except that it's just a little bit more expensive, and it's got two USB connector on the back here. Right, let's get started. Right, so let's first take a look at this tool. There's a power button on the top, two USB ports on the back, and there's a belt clip on the top, which I find very convenient if you need to charge your phone while you're working on your projects. Just clip this on your belt, and then you plug your phone in the USB port and you put your phone in your pocket. So it's very convenient. On the bottom of the unit there are three metal clips, just like any other Kobalt 24 volt tool. Got my 2 amp hour battery here. Let's plug it in. Now if the unit is turned off, it will not have any power at all out of the USB port. So let me demonstrate. I got my USB cable here. I cut the wire so I can loop my amp meter through the wire, so I can measure the amp coming out of the wire here. Let's turn this on. Read 0. Right, so now I'm gonna plug. I got an iPhone here. I'm gonna plug this in the unit. And let's see if we got any power when the unit is turned off. So I didn't turn it on yet. Okay. You can see there 0. 0.1. 0. Yeah, there's nothing coming out. Now I'm going to turn this on. There we go, it's turned on. You can see there it's charging my phone at what, 1.2, 1.3 amp. Now let's turn this off. Okay, see, immediately goes to 0. So it doesn't have any phantom load, or what you call it, a vampire draw at all when the unit is turned off. I used to have some tools with phantom loads, and it completely ruined my battery. I mean, when it draws power out of the battery, even though it's completely turned off, and it draws power out of the battery until the battery is dead. That means it's extremely bad for the battery. Luckily, that does not happen with this tool. I've left my battery on this unit for a whole week, and the battery voltage stays exactly the same, and it's still as fresh as before I put the unit in. So luckily this tool does not have any phantom load at all, so you can just leave the battery in the unit without worrying about destroying your battery. Now in the manual it says that one of the USB port is 1.2 amp, the other USB port is 2.4 amp. But it doesn't indicate here which one is which. They look exactly the same. So let's find out which one is which. I'm gonna turn on the unit first. It's on. See the green light, green LED. By the way, it's a very nice green LED when you turn it on the USB port and also on the button itself. Let's plug this in. You can hear ding on my phone, and we got 1.2 amp. Alright, it does go up and down, but I would say it's gonna go from 1 to 1.1 to 1.2. Okay, so now let's try the other port. Exactly the same. 1.2 amp, 1.3 amp. So none of the ports provide 2.4 amp. I'm not sure if I got because I got a 2 amp hour battery here. Might work with 4 amp hour battery, so let's try a bigger battery. I'm sure this battery is more than capable of delivering any current come out of USB port. But just to make sure, let's put a 4 amp hour battery in here. It says 2 amp hour, but this is 4 amp hour. You can see there. It's a 2P battery pack. But anyway, 4 amp hour battery in. Let's turn this on. So again, got the same result, 1.2 amp. Now let's unplug this. Plug in the other port. See what we got. Same thing. Now I don't know if there's a limit in current in my phone. It might not allow the phone to go up to 2 amp. So let's try something else. Right, so this time I got an iPad here, should be able to accept 2.4 amp easily. Let's plug this in the iPad, see what we got. .6, 1.7. Come on. It's decreasing. So it's definitely higher than the phone, but still not going up to 2.4 amp. I'm gonna give it a few moments. Okay, so it's not going up. So let's try the other USB port and see what we got. Exactly the same thing. So which one is 2.4? I suspect we got exactly the same USB ports on this unit. Looks exactly the same. They say one of the ports is 1.2 amp max, but we don't see that here. Both of them will produce around 1.5 amp. One of the reasons why your charging current might be low, probably because your device battery is almost full. When the battery is almost full, it will reduce the charging current, but my iPad battery is 61%, so there's no reason why I got a lower charging current. It's 1.5, 1.6 amp. Well, anyway, 1.6, 1.7 amp. 2 amp, 2.4 amp, it's close enough. It doesn't really matter much. What matters to me is this. I'm going to turn this into this so that I can use my battery for many other things, along with the USB function, of course. So my goal is I'm going to use these two ports here. These are the positive and negative terminal. I'm going to use these two ports and export it out of this unit to a wire just like this. See these two ports here going up to the wire and out to a connector. So I'm gonna find a way to export these two ports out of this unit so that I can use it just like this for something else. Now let's take a look inside this thing. We got two screws on the top and two Torx screws inside the holes here. So here we go, we got two regular Phillips screws and two Torx screws. This one is a security screw. It's got a pin right in the center, so you're gonna have to have a security Torx screwdriver. There's a hole right in the center. Got this at Harbor Freight for about $2 or $3, pretty cheap. So here we go. Let's see what's inside this thing. Look at the board. Choose USB port, power button. Okay, so what I have to do is I have to find a way to solder the terminal, which is here. So this one here and this one here are the terminals. So I'm just going to use these two terminals. I'm not going to use the middle terminal. Okay, I believe that's just ground. These are the two positive and negative terminal, and then you can see here's directly connected to the metal clips right here, right there. See that? Directly connected. So if I solder a wire to here and here, it'll be directly connected to my battery when I push this in here like so. Now let's turn it on and see if it's, there we go, it's still on without the case. I'm ready to solder the wires together. I got a couple of size 10 wire thick enough to handle the current. So my plan is to try to solder the wire from this terminal, and then the wire is going to go through here and out here. I was thinking about soldering this wire directly onto the terminal, but this wire is quite thick and it's not very flexible, it's very stiff. So if I wire directly on here, as soon as I bend the wire, it's just gonna break right off. So my plan is to use this solar bus wire. It's very flexible. It's very flexible. So just gonna solder a couple of these on here for each terminal. Should be thick enough to handle the current. It's like this, and then the wire is gonna be connected to the solar bus wire. That way I can bend it, because it has to go through all of these things here. This wire here is quite flexible. I can bend it in any direction easily without breaking the solder joint right here. If I just solder this wire, this copper wire directly on here, as long as I bend the wire, it's just gonna break this connection. So having this wire is very useful for this project. The two holes I drill on the unit is size 5/32 of an inch. So it's just a little bit smaller than the wire. So when I put the wire in here, it will pinch on the wire tight enough so that if I accidentally pull on the wire, it doesn't pull everything in here out. Now it's time to put it back together. Seems to go in fine. looks a bit tight in here, but that's the whole point, right? I want it to be tight so when I pull the wire it doesn't pull, especially the solder joints in here, it doesn't pull the solder joints out. So oh yeah, it's tight. Now good. We can get here. Let's see if I can push together. It's looking good now. It's a bit of a gap in the top here, so as soon as I put this in here, it should hold the top together. There we go, looks nice and tight. I bend it down so I can still use my belt clip. Alright, so here we go. I think I'm done. The wire doesn't get in the way with the belt clip, so I can still use the belt clip. I've soldered the XT60 on the terminal here. Let me bend the wire so make it more compact here. So there we go. Now let's try and see if it works. No smoke, that's good. Battery is full. Now let's turn this on. There we go, see green LED light. Let me turn off the light so you can see the lights, the green LED. There we go. Let me try and plug in my phone here and see if it works. There we go. It's working. Charging my phone. Let's try the other USB. There we go. Everything works as usual. The only difference is this wire coming out here. Let's see what voltage we got coming out of here. Around 25 volt. My battery is full, so it seems to be working. So the terminal here, let me turn this off here. This terminal here goes straight directly to the wire and go out externally to this connector. So it doesn't go through the circuit board at all. So it doesn't interfere with whatever that is in the circuit board. It doesn't interfere with the USB or anything else. So we can harvest power going straight directly from the battery out to this wire. Right, so I made my first one, and I thought of another way easier to do this. This is my second one. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold this wire, fold it 4 times just like this, and then I'm gonna flatten it. My pair of pliers here. The reason why I fold it 4 times, because I want it to be thick to be able to handle the current. Then I solder it on here on the terminal. So I'm gonna solder it vertically like this, and then I'm gonna solder my wire right on it, right on both the solder joint here and the tapping wire. That way we're more strong. The solder joints are more strong than just soldering the wire straight to this solder joint, because I don't think it's going to be really strong when you flex this wire, this joint is gonna break loose. So adding this tapping wire onto here will make the solder joint stronger. Here we go. It's a nice and solid solder joint. The wire is still flexible. Now this is a lot easier, and it took me much less time than my previous one. Now I just have to push my heat shrink tubing in here for insulation, and that's it. There we go. Here we go. Nice and solid. We are done. Nice and neat. Wire is still flexible, so I drill a couple holes here. Size 5/32. Now is a moment of truth. Let's see it will fit. Goes in nicely. There we go. Very nice. Right, so here is the final product. It's the previous one that I made. They look identical, so I just put some numbers on them. So number 1 is the first one that I made. The second one I spent a lot less time to make, and that's because it's more simple to make. And I think it's a lot better way to make this. Now let's try to see if it works. Battery is full. Let's turn this on. Turns on green, and turn off the light. You can see. There we go. LED is on, off, on. Works great. See the voltage coming out of here. .8 volts. Great. So works fine. Right, so moment of truth now. Got hooked up to my electric scooter. Let's try and see if it works. So another question is, does a USB work when I'm using the electric scooter at the same time? Let's find out. So first I'm gonna have to turn this on. You can see the green LED light is turned on. Let's try it. let's try the other USB. So there you have it, how to make a battery connector for your electric vehicle. This one cost $20 at Lowe's. Previously I made this one. It's a lot cheaper, but it's not free because you have to consider the cost of a silicone mold and fiberglass resin, or I believe this is polyurethane. It's a lot cheaper, and once you have a mold, you can make a lot of these very easily. But with this, with a little bit more money, you can get a better looking one, and it's got more function too. You can charge your phone and stuff with a USB. Right, so that's all I have for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.